Okay, hi everybody, thanks for coming back from lunch. So thanks for being punctual and sticking to our rules of engagement of punctuality, and hope that you can continue on the participation that you had so far, so we can continue that. And some of you have actually experienced from a management associate program, being a management associate, so bring along your personal stories so we can learn from one another. Okay, so let's do a recap what we covered in the morning. So we actually covered about some why do we need a management associate program, and what are the implications in terms of the financials when it's not designed well, and then who are the management associates, which are essentially the fresh graduates who are coming in, and how it's integrated to our talent management strategy for the organization. Then we also look at the overall talent management strategy and how it's linked to the business drivers and also the outcomes. And we saw that the management associate program is actually part of the growth engine. So now we will be actually going through the second learning outcome, which is covering what are the components of a management associate program. Okay, so basically for management associate program there are 4 components. It starts with recruitment. So for recruitment, can anyone tell me what's the most important thing that you need to know before you can start any form of recruitment?
CVs, resume.
Yes, resumes of
the candidate.
Yes, so it's correct. So actually we need to know who are we looking for, what are the profile of the management associates we are trying to hire.
I think we know all this. Can we just skip through? Do we have to go through this?
Maybe we can check with the rest of the class. Thanks for highlighting. So is the rest of the class feeling the same way that this is something that you're quite familiar with?
No.
I
think we'd like to hear more about it. No more.
Okay, so maybe you have to just bear with it, and it will there will be a segment for you to, since you are quite experienced in this, do share your experience with everybody, then we can learn from one another.
Okay.
Okay, so for recruitment, so we saw that we look at the attitudes, the skills and knowledge, and then having this in mind, then we can come about what are the methods. So what are some methods that you know that you can do recruitment for management associates that you heard about? Maybe from friends?
Peer interviews.
Peer interviews. What do you mean by peer interviews?
So you have someone from the same department, may not necessarily from the same unit, to just like talk to you and see whether you'll be suitable for the role.
Okay. Okay, thank you for sharing. Anybody else has any other?
LinkedIn?
LinkedIn,
yes.
Yeah,
agree.
So now we are having the younger generation very in tune with social media, so this is really another method that you can approach. So actually for recruitment, since one of the methods you could consider would be having the previous batch of management associate to plan the recruitment, because they will be more in touch with what are the needs and wants of the management associates. So this is some of the things that you can take into consideration. Next, let's look at onboarding. So for onboarding, what do you think? So every organization, most of them in fact have an onboarding program. So what do you think should be the difference between this onboarding for the management associates and the standard one?
I think for onboarding, one of the things I would feel is that the interface or interaction with the individual should start much earlier than the actual onboarding, which means you start conveying the kind of culture, the kind of systems that the company follows, get them involved in whatever is going on as activities even before they sort of come on board.
So actually you mentioned a very good point, because these management associates are very high caliber individuals, and usually from the time that you sign the offer and they actually join us, is the period that we may lose them. So it's very important that we keep them engaged until they join us fully. Yes. Anybody has any other things to add?
I have one more.
Yes.
So what should be also in the onboarding process, a lot of times we find that the individual comes into a job, does not know the context of the larger job, where his job really fits in the larger scheme of things. So it's very important that they be involved or they be informed about the actual difference that they will be making to the larger purpose of the organization.
So how their role fits into the bigger purpose.
Yes.
Yes. So that's one very important point as well. And another thing to note is that the main purpose of this will be because later on they will be going through various developmental projects where they have to start from the onset and showcase their performance. So we would like to shorten the learning curve for them, and this is where, as organizing the management associate program, we come in to help them. Yeah. So there's many methods that we can, many things that we can cover.
So what's the training needs analysis?
Okay, that's a very good question. So from a training needs analysis, it would then move on to what kind of competencies they would like to cover. So this is something that we can take it into the parking lot because it's not in the main scope of what we're going to cover, but we can cover it certainly later on during the tea break. Okay, so next, let's go on to development. So anybody heard of the 70-20-10 model that you do in the workplace? Okay, so generally 70% is on the job experience, then 20% is a relationship based on coaching and mentoring, and 10% is the classroom formal training such as this that we are having today. Yeah, so this is another way that you can structure what are the developmental opportunities given to the management associate such that it meets sort of this kind of experience. And then offboarding. So anybody can guess what offboarding means? Maybe Nurul, would you like to try?
Is it offboarding is when you formally like induct the person as a new management associate? You officially give them the job.
Okay, so when they come in onboarding, that's when they are inducted as a management associate. Yeah, so thanks for asking this question. Offboarding would be once they join as a normal employee of the organization without having this structure. Maybe sometimes it's 2 years program. So how do you manage their career? So you have actually invested so much on them in terms of money for the courses, maybe senior management engagement. How would you as an organization perspective want to see a ROI for all this investment? Should there be some career advancements that you need to see? And then from an MA perspective, you have gone through this program, have done, contributed, made a lot of accomplishments. What would you like to see? So these are some of the things that we will cover during the offboarding. So oftentimes this basically talks about career management, and oftentimes it's the neglected part, and one of the reasons that the management associate may eventually leave the organization when it's not properly managed. Yeah. So far, do you have any questions? No. Okay, so you carry on. So now we'll do an activity. So for this activity, basically we have structured 4 flip charts. So number you want to do, so you can start 1,
2, 1,
2,
1.
2. Okay, so all the 1s will go to the recruitment onboarding, and the 2s will come here to do the development and offboarding. So hold on first. I know you're very excited, want to participate. Okay, so basically what you can do is you can take your Google and search for the answers. So basically we are using a healthcare organization as an example to craft out the management associate program. What are the opportunities we like to have? So we'll be using National Healthcare Group. Okay, so basically I have put in the vision for you. The vision is adding years of healthy life. We have some components of their culture. So basically you see patient-centered care, systems thinking, learning organization, staff engagement. We have their corporate values in place. The national directions for healthcare today is that we are focusing on health. So instead of just once you have a disease and then you treat the treat the person, we're going towards preventive healthcare. How do you prevent them from going to the hospitals? Community care and even home care, instead of just focusing the resources at the specific hospitals. And then going for value, what is the value to the patients or the population rather than just quality. So these are the directions to have in mind. And overview of the organization, so we have respective institutions. We have different types of care. So we have primary care. Primary care is once you get sick, the first level of defense. Secondly, acute care would be like if you have an emergency or crisis situation, you go to an acute hospital like Tam Singh, KTPH, and then once you have recovered and you don't need to, you can go and step down, then you can go on to like community hospitals and step down care. So this is just a quick overview to allow you to be able to do some of the things there. So now you can actually get up and go and try to do this activity.
One here, one.
So you can just stick to our staff opportunities that you have to spread out for people.
Attachment with the way of
Natural hire.
I know, I did lateral
That's what people experience lateral.
polyclinics,
What is the competency?
job, attachments with polyclinics. It's a specialized one, right? Very specialized. Across primary, secondary, and tertiary.
Non-healthcare institutions but working together. For example, pharmaceutical, like family care center.
So mentoring with a family care center. Family care center. Okay, you're saying okay across the field. Yeah, so basically mentoring that across the various different types of hospitals. In the classroom.
Project competition.
What kind of training would you want for polyclinic? Basically, primary healthcare courses, right?
Yeah, you hold a competition for
Primary
them
healthcare courses.
to show their project management skills.
Yeah.
Project management system.
Group activities.
Policies.
Put them in group activities and then people observing whether they're individualistic or
Okay.
Activity means solve problem.
System corporate and IT system. This one is like the corporate and corporate.
Patient interfacing, basically like a corporate
Values
across the
and
board, how we
culture.
interface with patients, like a customer experience training, like customer service, all of them, yeah. Customer service across all of them.
Maybe like special for
That's a tough word.
People are
So we specialize training, from
Ah,
India. If you are into nursing, then you want to specialize nursing.
You were saying?
No,
that's all right.
specialized courses.
Yeah, specialized courses.
oh,
Yeah, specialized courses.
Can lah, both group.
Both lah, yeah, because it's related.
Boarding.
Okay. Onboarding.
But it's standard
This program are some
Yeah, correct.
verification
Characteristics.
No, plus what else?
some accomplishments.
Oh, orientation is very part of it.
Need a project.
Mentorship.
Yeah.
Key sessions.
Goal setting. Strategic.
Mentorship, one is have a
Oh
mentor.
yeah, strategic planning.
Strategic planning.
And their management. So they should go beyond goals. Strategy. Look at the national direction.
Okay, so maybe you can have a last half a minute to finish up your last sentence.
Other than standard.
Key sessions.
Exchange program.
They can just
Oh,
go
actually,
Future development planning.
because sometimes they still
Yeah.
Career
rotation,
Yeah.
job rotation. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, maybe we can come over to this side. So, okay, maybe we can come over to this side. Have somebody to appoint to.
Yeah, already appointed. Okay, very briefly, so the target group that we have are people either they are fresh graduate or people in the workforce. We call it a lateral hire, 1 to 2 years already in the workforce, and experience in some project management and very good at adaptability and teamwork. So these are the who. And on the how, we can have career fairs for the graduates, and for those already working, we can the usual platform is LinkedIn, and then we also look for project competition skills, and also how they acclimatize to group activities. Yeah. So for onboard, we
So for the
sorry.
the group activities will be part of the selection process, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
you can
we
run a
have
group
to.
activity to examine, how adaptable they are, and
Yeah.
whether they are, just individualistic and try to push on,
Yeah.
or do they know how to work in a team?
As a team, yes.
So maybe this side, do you have anything to add for the how they are going to attract and select?
I think there should be some maybe advertisement on some platform or maybe at the how to say like website.
The corporate website.
Corporate
maybe,
website.
Some organization use YouTube, Facebook Live to do that career fair.
Yeah.
So it's may not just be at the school itself.
Yeah.
And in a way, they have a good thing that they have done is that they have incorporated the corporate values. So like collegiality, they have gotten the teamwork as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
so that's a good thing.
Told you.
So,
You rap me.
so next, let's go on to onboarding.
And onboarding, we come with the usual method that is we have mentorship and also peer-to-peer learning, and we have strategic planning, setting the goals with the management associate, and we will encourage exchange program with overseas office, and also they be further exposed in the job rotation. Yeah.
Okay. So some of the things you have mentioned, you may see that it's a bit repeated to the development portion.
Yep.
In terms of onboarding, typically it may be like 1 month, or some organizations do have 6 months and they have job rotation, but it's like site visits to the sites. Or for example, for here, if let's say for the management associate who could have like 1 to 2 days, service days, they could see from the frontline staff what's the experience, and then back end stuff. So it's more of service days or short site attachments, and then strategic planning, what's the latest directions that they're going towards. So these are some of the things we consider. Okay, thank you. Go on to this group. Maybe you would like to share?
Okay, so I will share the development part. So we are following the 70-20-10% rule. So we are supposed to give 3 examples. So we give the example of primary care institution, specialist center, and also our tertiary care. So for the experiential part, which is like on-the-job training, we will attach the management training to the polyclinics, to the specialty center, which we chose is the National Skin Center, and we also chose for the tertiary center, we chose the biggest, most busiest hospital in Singapore, which is the Tan Tock Seng Hospital. Okay, so the trainees will spend time in this institution to learn what is on-the-job skills such as the operational side. Okay, then for the relationship part, the 20%, I think for all the 3 institutions, it will be just mentoring. For example, with the different departments of each of the institutions. Then finally, the 10% is the formal courses that the trainees are supposed to take. So for example, for trainee in the primary care, they have to do a lot of customer service, so we will send them for customer service course. For trainee in the National Skin Center, it's a specialized area, so definitely they have to go for specialized courses like they have to know what are the different skin diseases that is being treated there. And then for the trainee in the Tan Tock Seng, they have to learn more of the systems and the IT systems that is being used in the hospital. So for example, bed management system.
Okay, so maybe in a few words, could you also describe the offboarding?
Offboarding is when the trainee is offboarded, definitely they must have leadership and they must have the willingness to adapt to change. Then we have to make sure that they want to continue to stay in the organization, so we engage them and we give them career development, and we have to keep on touching base with them through the continuing mentorship.
Okay, thanks for sharing. So some of the things you can note from here is that some of the items you don't need to be just one posting, but it can be across all the posting, like mentoring. And another thing to consider is, for example, the accomplishment could link back to the business objective. So leadership and adapt to change, what other things could have been something that's linked to the current direction, national directions that we're going towards. Yeah. Okay. And for the what's next is, how does it link back to our overall talent management process? So for example, they could be part of the discussion between the HODs for the talent review discussions. So they're part of the talent pool as well. So that's an example. Okay, so thanks for sharing. Maybe you can go back to your seat.
Thank you.
So we've just done the debrief. Important thing is to know, sometimes it's important to start with the end in mind. So end in mind is the offboarding, and then thereafter you can actually make the amendments throughout and have an overall view of the plan. It's important to plan so that you can have success for the program, because it's a lot of investment that is needed. Okay, so let's do a quick recap. So what are the 4 components? Anyone can name me? First one is
Recruitment, onboarding, development, and offboarding.
So could you share maybe one key takeaway that you will take back after having experienced this, maybe back into your own work situation? A key learning point that you took back from this experience?
I think for me it's more on the engaging and retain part, because nowadays corporates find it very hard to retain talent even after they complete the program. So I would definitely take this back with me and focus more on the career development part and continue mentorship.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, I think in terms of my department, what I'll do is focus more on the mentorship.
Yeah.
Because if you continue to develop your people, to Jared's point, we'll get more retention.
Thank you. Maybe from this side?
For me, I think it's very important that we recruit the right people. So make sure that our criteria and what kind of people we want to attract is clearly spelled out. So it's like from the start, we get the people who is what is needed in our industry.
So this, what you mentioned, is a very good point, because oftentimes when they look at where would they spend the most investment on, they actually focus on recruitment, because attitudes is one of the things that even no matter how good is your management associate program, you may not be able to change that much. So it's recruitment process is really important to get the best hire in, and then you keep them on throughout the journey. So thanks so much for sharing. I hope this has been a good learning journey. So next, we'll go for a tea break, and then we'll come back and draft the management associate program for your organization.
Thank you.
Okay.